Oh, good afternoon. I had the mute on. Excuse me. Welcome to Risk Neutral Trading. This is the Globex edition of the live stream. This is my virtual trading journal, and it's not for financial or trade advice. And there is a disclaimer in the description. However, I do trade live here on Bookmap, and I trade structured, vetted setups live on Bookmap, real time, never any recording, never any playback. The reason for the length of the live streams, my usual stream is from 8 o'clock in the morning Central Standard Time until 1500. That's the cash market. And this one is for the opening range breakouts on the Globex and the Asia markets. And I do these because I have a commitment not to take any trades off of the stream. So that's the commitment. Now, this is Bookmap. This is my execution platform. And this is IRT, which is my charting. You can see what a day we had today. Oh, look at this thing. Here's the candle for the day. So just quickly, if you're not familiar with IRT, this is my charting package, and in the header of every one of these windows, you can see the instrument, the periodicity, chart type, periodicity, and the session. This is the micro tab. This is the mini tab. So this is the micro ES NQ, the micro ES, my higher time frame chart. And this is the market profile, which is, I do change it from full session to RTH session, but I do not change from mini. It's always the minis. The high time frame chart here is, again, it's the micro ES 1 day candle, and it's the RTH session. So each one of these represents a RTH session trading. This is today, yesterday, Friday. Wherever price overlaps, I draw the volume profile around it, and that gives me a micro composite POC, etc., which I enter in Bookmap. And these red and green lines, which are high and low volume nodes, these just indicate the high and low volume nodes. The values for those nodes is pushed to Bookmap right here. And these are the high and low volume volume nodes. These are the inputs, or the data that I have in the micro composite, which I manually enter. And this is the full session volume profile, which starts plotting at 1700 every night and runs through 1600 the next day. This is the RTH volume profile and delta. These are the statistics, the open type, and the statistics for the associated session prices that we've just had today. And these are the session prices. So let's get this opened up here a little bit, where we can make some sense of it. Like I said, the purpose of this stream is to identify whether there are any interesting opportunities in the opening range for both the Globex and the Asian sessions. And if not, well, then I will stick. This is not in place of, this is in addition to the RTH session full day stream, which just occurred. Just finished at 1600. Now I'm going to put Blue Boy over here, which is just a vertical line, and I put that on the first print of each session. The idea is that I can, as long as I can glance and see Blue Boy and see this active data, this is the live here and now. I know that the full session's in view, and I can understand. I have no question about context. So right now, we have the initial balance high put in first, or the opening range high. And this is the opening range low at this moment, but this is meaningless at this point. So let's let this thing unwind for a little while here and see where we are. We've only entered 5 minutes. And after a day like today, this could be a nothing burger tonight. You never know. Because that was quite a day. Well, this is about as exciting as paint drying, huh? After today, it's not surprising at all, but if this thing turns out being a flat line like an EKG, I'm going to be disappointed about it. It will be a short stream. What I'm doing here, I guess we can get on with the data. So here's our systems. Nothing going on here. We're not quite a point high, but close. There we go. 1 point between each one of these. Yeah, this could be a real dud. But that's to be expected. And let's look at IRT now. This is the initial. Look at this. That's pretty funny. Sorry, but that's pretty funny. Here we are, huh? This was the IB low, IB high, the zones, previous high, all that stuff. Here's price, and then here's what we got going on now. That's pretty funny. That's what you might call tight, I guess, huh? Granted, it's because of the range, but it's still pretty funny there. I couldn't resist. Sorry. So what we're going to do now is look at the data. This was the data for today, and we're going to move to the opening range breakout. And we'll get over here. Now what we need to do is we need to change to this is a real quandary for me still, whether we stick with the 5 p.m. just the Globex separation, or go with the Globex or with the ETH, because Globex, what I'm trying to do here is identify and analyze just that period of time for the Globex, which is going to be, and we're not getting anywhere here. I know why, I think. Yeah. So this is just the period of time from 1700 to 1900 Central Standard Time, which is Chicago. And we're going to keep having this problem of not fetching the data when we want to update to our other reports, I'm afraid. Because I'm not interested in statistics. For example, the opening range breakout in the middle of the Asia session. That would be true, and that would be viable and accurate if we're looking at the entire ETH. I want to know what's the probability of breakout within this particular period, and we'll switch this range or this session to Chicago or to Asia when that opens. But I'm interested in this period of time. Do you understand? Not all night. So that's why I'm looking at this. This buy day is not going to work. It's going to fail to fetch, I'm sure. Now here's the interesting part. We're able to filter down here. So let's just forget the standard report and move on to the rejection, because this is what's meaningful to me anyway. This is based on the opening range breakout in a 60-minute period. So in other words, the first 1 hour over here. And here is the opening range low at this point and the opening range high at this point. So as we stand now, we've put in the opening range low first and then the opening range high, and that's significant. Let's also get over here to the trading view, and here we come now. So I need to modify this one right. Where am I? Here. And I need to shut off the initial balance high dashboard and activate the Globex dashboard. What this is going to show us is the range, which was formed first, which was formed second, which was broken out, etc. So there's the opening range for the Globex as we stand right now. Remember, we were just talking about the opening range low was put in first, and now we have the high, and there we go. So we'll stand by. And the reason these are important is that statistically, there's a higher probability that the later level, the later formed level, breaks out first. That's typically the way it works. And I'm talking about over here. So in this case, the opening range the low was formed first. The high has been formed second. So the first break is a 49% probability will break the high first, based on this little thing right here. Tuesday. And to make sure this is all correct, and it is. This is 2 years. Now, if you want to get down to the usual 6 months, it's even more so. And then we'll have to worry about the zone and all of those. What we're going to do is let this form, and I don't have manual or automatic lines being pushed to bookmap from my RT as I do in the daylight in the RTH session, because this is just a hunting, expedition here. There's the low, and that was placed first. Now we've got the high up here. And this is kind of meaningless at this point. Those could change, in 2 or 3 times between now and the first hour. Well, we are making time. We're almost up to the first half hour, so we are clipping right along, I guess. So in preparation or in anticipation of something meaningful happening here, let's get Bookmap configured to trade and trade using the new hedge principle or technique for trade management. So in order to trade with Bookmap, you need to activate the trade control panel and pick an account. In this case, I'm using a set of Lucent accounts to de-risk and be able to have enough something meaningful to trade and also get profit, take payments or profits from it, as opposed to this using my live amp account funded by me to investigate this whole edge technique and these after hours. Now I want to also make sure that the statistics are on the right account, and they're not. There we go. And then it's doing multi-trading because I want to copy all 5 of those accounts. That's how you scale or grow, are able to take profit and scale. So there's that. So that would be the initial trade, which is a 5-lot micro. Okay, now the hedge would come in over here. And got to do the same story because they're going to be all trading at the same time, and the hedge is going to be one mini. So I'm sure you better know that one mini is the ratio is 10 micros to 1 mini. So the way this hedge process will work is best described right here. Ooh, that's bright, isn't it? Let's shut that brightness down. There we go. So the way the hedge would work is, let's pretend that we take a trade here at 73.80 right there, okay? And we'll pretend that it's a short for sake of demonstration. 73.80. Okay. Now, short 73.80, 3 points or 12 tick stop. And what this does is it enters a hedge rather than hard stop, but at the same location. It actually improves the risk. The way it works is, here's the entry, 7,300, 73.80. Assuming price goes against us and goes up to the stop, which is 73.83, the hedge would be triggered, and that would enter another 5 micros short and 1 mini long, meaning then that we would have a net price or average price of 81.50, 73.81.50 for 10 micros, and 1 mini at 83. So this is a direct hedge, and it's 6 ticks or a 1.5. And that's the maximum loss that could happen as long as the hedge is in force. And the price can go to the moon, it can go to the floor. It doesn't matter. The most risk you're going to have is right there. Now, the key, of course, comes when you take the hedge off in a manner that you can get to the scratch, or at least not have it go against you rapidly. But that's the technique of the hedge. And this is just a little something I built to be able to plot the zones over here because I don't have them pushing across from IRT to Bookmap. So that's how the hedge thing works. Again, it is only a trade management tool at the same location as a full stop. So in other words, price comes up here 3 points against the trade. Instead of stopping out, which is what would happen right here, price is improved by the difference, and the hedge is put on. That's all at the same location. Well, look at this. Holy crap. And if this is what's going to happen tonight, well, it's going to be hard for me to pay attention. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, I'm not here to waste your time or mine. And I'm certainly not here to try to, be a radio disc jockey or whatever else. That's not the point of the mission. The reason I'm streaming these, as I said earlier, is in case there is an opportunity and I want to take a trade, I will not take a trade off the stream. So I have to be streaming. That's that simple. And we have our math. We just need to wait. Now, what I'm going to do here is keep. We have the low. We have the first print. We have the low. So I'm going to now put a horizontal line at the high. And we know that the low was put in first, right there. And then there's the high. And this is the opening range. And at the end of the first hour, I'll put that opening range period close over here so we can, so that's boxed in. Just as if we look here, right here. Right? Now, I should say that if you subscribe to Edgeful, which is obviously what I do to get this tool, you're also, part of that subscription is access to all of these indicators that Edgeful has built for TradingView. And I'm really happy about that because I had never had any experience with TradingView before. And it's really convenient. Zooming around, looking at this stuff, in and out, up and down, what happened here, go back and look somewhere else, is real convenient and user-friendly. IRT is a professional piece of kit, but it's a pain in the ass. If I want to jump over here and look at something or suddenly, add some zones in here, I got to go through coding up each one of the zones. It's just more complicated. It's a professional piece of kit, yes, but it is not nearly as handy as just being able to jump around and do this and look at this indicator and, I want to change that and let's add these zones over here and, that stuff. So from a point of view of just quick, down and dirty, especially in this, in the mission that we're doing now on these Globex testing, research, whatever you want to call it. I like Tom the Trader. I did a bunch of research this week. I'm going to call this research. I guess I could put Globex research on the stream title. He's a funny guy. And a good trader, too, of course. So now, watch what happens. See here? What's going to happen now? If this goes down, which I think it already has, notice the little gap here? I believe, and we'll check, we have now put in a new low, meaning then the relationship tips over. Now the initial balance high was formed first, and the low is following. It may not be, and I don't think that it is. There we were, and here we are, but it only has to get about a tick, and then all of a sudden, like about now, right there, all of a sudden, the high was put in first, and now the low's up. This is not any kind of a trigger or signal to trade, but the relationship is important. And you see how it looks over here. So let's look at our data. All of a sudden now, things have changed. All of a sudden, the opening range high was formed first. So, under this circumstance, looking back 6 months on the MES in this session, the opening range high still has the greater probability to be taken out. That's kind of, that's a bit eye-opening, you see. What happens if the opening range low is put in first? The opposite side, which is normal, the IB high, opening range high has the higher probability. You would expect the other way. Not the case. Grasshopper. So that's interesting. And they're making more lows here. Here's the part that starts to, it doesn't bother me, but here's how my mind starts working. Monkey boy over here. Wait. So let's see where we go. Well, we get 25 minutes to the top of the hour, and that will be the opening range. And we'll see what we see. Well, more downside, eh? More. Boom. She says, oh, Alice. Tired. Okay. So quite clearly, our opening range high has been formed first, and now we have the low. And our range is spread out from 86 to 66, so we've got a 20 handle range. So that's reasonable, tradable. I'm not saying we're there or anything's happening. I'm just saying, we have now 20 minutes to go. When we get close, I'll put in the 20, 50, and 20 zones like they are here. It's 25, 50, 75, or 25 off the bottom, however you want to look at it. Each line is 25% of the total. And here we are. You see, we put in the low, and now we're ticking back up here. We've got a 20.25 range, and yeah, here we are. Oop. I think this is quite interesting that I wonder what happens if we change the scope. Here, let's look at 2 years. It just gets smaller. They become more closer to equal. 42 to 32, that's pretty close. That's not so juicy there. I like this one better. I like 50 to 21 a lot better. The thing that I've noticed here and that you need to remember using the statistics in Edgeville is that when it's sorted by day, right, there's very few occurrences. So you risk leaning on random distribution rather than statistical good statistical data. I bet when we get this, I bet if we take this to a month is even, or three, let's make 3 months out of it and see what happens. Yeah, see how these change? And there's two ways to look at this. I've always done my back testing with IRT, 500 days, for example. Let's look at some of these, like this one here. Set up a back test, 100 days, 500 days, whatever. But someone made an interesting point. Whoops, wrong button. Somebody made an interesting point the other day to me. Let's pretend that you have, or imagine that you have a trade, strategy that worked 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Do you think it would work now in this environment? That seems pretty stark, and the answer I think would have to be no. Because just look at the environment we're in. And on top of all the other uncertainty that we've had going on, now we've got the geopolitical story with Iran. So, yeah, that's why I've kind of been leaning on more current, not so much 3 months, usually 6. But let's look at what 1 month does. This is interesting to me. About the same. 3, so it's 66 and 33, right? Oh, but look over here. Look at on the opening range low forming first. Nada pinata, and 100% of them. And this is exactly backwards. Do you see this? This says that in 1 month, which there are very few instances, 100% probability that when the opening range low was formed first, the opening range low was broken first, instead of the other way around. And essentially the same idea, but not 100%, obviously, with the opening range high. That's not normal. If you go look at a couple of years back, you see how it changes? It's usually the opposite side that breaks first. That's more expected behavior. So that's pretty flippin' weird. What do I think? I think it's weird because this, or no, if I look at 6 months, if I look at this data and this formed first, I'm going to expect the opening range high to break first. If the low formed first, high formed first. Now we're on the other side of the coin. Now we have the high formed first, and this says the high is going to break first, not second. And if we drill in closer, it's even worse. Or more pronounced. So what would I think? Well, I would think that we only have 15 minutes to go here. Let's just look at price, and let's look at the day. This data says to us that the high was formed first, meaning the low was formed second. After the first 1 hour, we have a 60 or 50% probability that price, or a higher probability that price is going to take the IB high. Now, that happened 4 different instances in the recent days. And I'm talking instances opening the Globex, the Asian, the RTH, where the same side that was formed first was the first broken. And that's weird. That's not normal. Normal. Let's get out to 5 minutes here. There we go. Pretty close. We've got coming up on 10 minutes now till this thing turns into a pumpkin on us. Let's look at so much easier. Look over here. If I were to just, look at this without doing any data, what would be the initial reaction? Well, there's the high. We've traded down. We've held in these two zones for, 3 candle periods. This current candle is trading right down on the bottom. I would expect that price was going to, after the initial opening range is formed, I would expect the low to be taken. The data says the other way. Now, we're missing one piece of data, and that's the closing zone, which can't get until it's over, right? Till the zone is closed. And I mean, But this is the kind of this is what can happen to you if you don't trade specifically on the data and you try to front run the data, which is, in my opinion, my experience has been that that doesn't have a good long-term outcome. This would be a good example if that's going to be the case. So are we done? Oh, we got 5 minutes to go. I get so frustrated over there. I was trying to do something else. Trying to multitask. We know I don't do that well. That's actually how the stream got started. Well, two ways. Tom of Traders Lab suggested that focus on my market, narrate my auction, rather than, being all over a Discord room or whatever else. And that's how I started doing the stream, because I don't multitask well, and I believe journaling is important. So screen snapping and keeping up with all of that while trading, this seemed like a better solution, and so far I'm sticking with it. Now we continue to make new lows, you see. We have not yet formed the final candle, which will determine which one of these zones the ending zone is in, and that dictates this one more input, which is here, and these are the different zones. Now, the way that works is we'll wait for the last candle close within the opening range. So these are 5-minute candles. So when this candle closes, that will indicate the ending zone. Wherever close. And the way the zones are, the values are assigned, you begin opposite the first form. So the IB high was formed first. That means that these zones would be 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. If it were the other way around, and the lower form first, it would be 0 to 25, 25 to 50, etc. So here we are. So we'll see what we get here now with this close. And seems late. It's only not even 1800 yet. Oh, there we go. So we put in our closing candle. I'm going to guess that it's in the lower quadrant. Well, what happened here? Here we go. No, I'm wrong. So here is the closing. It's in the 24 to 50 quadrant. So let's jump over here. Let's put in the final coup d'etat right there. Boom. Now what happens? Well, we have 100% probability that we're going to take out the IB high first if the IB low was put in first, or the OR low. In this case, it was not. So there's a 66% probability that we're going to take out the opening range high first. That, I will say, makes 0 sense to me. This is saying that, you know, there's the high was formed first, there's the range, we haven't broken anybody out yet. It says that the highest probability of 60% is that we're going to trade up here and take this one out first before this one. Now this is where a lot of people will get hung up, because they're going to wait for this to trade between the 25 and the 50, and they're going to try to front run it to the statistic. And what I'm going to do is watch it, because common sense to me says that that's going the wrong way, you know, for this, in terms of the context, in terms of the day. So, yeah, I don't think that's a very good idea. And I'm questioning whether it's got to do with the way that I've got this session built. So let's look at something else. Let's look at the Chicago ETH and see what happens. So what do we got? We got 666s, ooh, the devil, and 100. That's pretty easy to remember. And there now is makes much more sense to me, that we have 100% probability that we'll take out the IB low and a 0% probability that we take out the IB high first. See what a difference it makes by just changing the session. I really need to figure this one out. Look at that. Is it a matter of frequency? So there's 8 and 3. That's 6. There's 9 of them. Let's see what happens when we change this one. Oops. Oh no. Christ, this is, that's less. Oh, something's really wrong. How can there be less? How can there be less occurrences? This is the high form first. This is the low form first. This is 5 and that's 2. That's 7. How is it humanly possible that this is 9? How can there be more in shorter time frame over the same period? Oh boy, I don't like that. I don't like that much. I don't like that very much at all. Okay, let's try to do this. Let's look at Asia. Well, first of all, look at that one. And then let's look at this one. And it's different also. My. Well, I'm lost. I don't know about anybody else. I hope somebody comes through here and says, here's what you need to do. Here's what you're doing wrong, dummy, because I'm not liking this at all. Wow. Now, looking at the way price is going, we're going to take out the IB high, the OB high, opening range high, the ORB. Price is coming back up off the bottom and heading up towards the top. Wow. That's pretty weird. I must admit, I'm pretty, I don't like that. That's going the wrong way. There's where it feast. This is the zone, so these levels are fixed. Welcome to the stream. If you're lurking about, drop something in the chat. If I'm just talking to myself, that's okay too. But seems like there's more views going on over there. Well, this is pretty darn weird, isn't it? Sure as hell is to me. Boy, this is pretty darn disappointing. Trying to, yeah. Well, I could put in the zones, but it's kind of useless. I guess we could do it though. Just why not? Huh? So what have we got here? 86.75 and 63 half. Okay. So let's look at 73, 86.5, and 23, 73. Is that right? Let's see if that's right. $76.5 and 63.5. I don't think I got either one of them right. $73. Jesus Christ. Oh, wait a minute. What the hell is going on here? Boy, I am tired. Wow. 86 and 63. Wow, man, I'm telling you. I am rummy here. Oh, man, this is fun, huh? Is that right? Well, if that's not right, it's 75. I got names wrong on both of them. Man, I'm telling you what, this is crazy. I need to be. The dyslexia is getting out of control. Good enough, though. So what we've got here is 23 points. We've got 73.80 is the first one. Let's get over here and do 73.80. Horizontal line, 73.80. 75. And then 73.75. And then 69.25. Now, these are just the zones. It doesn't look exactly right up here, so I must have something wrong. 86 half. 86.73 half. I wouldn't change it that much. Oop. 81, say. So let's move this one to 81. All right. So these are those percentages. So we're right on the 25% now. When we pulled over the 50% and did this little dipsy doodle up here, if you're going to front run, this is the spot to be, because you can put your stop above the high and still be 2-to-1, assuming you take out the lower statistic, and still have a 2-to-1 R factor. Right? You understand? Okay. Boy, I tell you. So let's see what they do until we get up to the. We've got until 1900 here. My money's on breaking out the low, but that's why I don't gamble, and I try to do this based on statistics and probabilities rather than what I think. The next order of business to do with statistics, which I think I might have mentioned, but in case, I don't recommend front running. So what happens next is the retracements. And these are looking at the wrong thing. Assuming we break the opening range low or high, these are the probabilities that will retrace to these various percentage levels. And that's how this is supposed to be used. The data is supposed to be looked at with those retracements so that once the initial balance, let's just pretend the initial balance low is taken out. Once it's taken out, then what's the probability that price retraces to the 25 or the 50? And these can be considered entries and stop placement zones. What I've noticed here is oftentimes, especially in the Globex opening range, it doesn't retrace. It just keeps cooking. And that's actually happened in the RTH too. Even today, look at there. We broke out right there. Okay, here's a perfect example. Put the IB high in first. The continuation candle was south. The last candle of the zone was here. And we broke out. We took the IB low. That's as expected everywhere you're looking, except for the fact that there was never any possibility of a retrace. So the only way you could get on this afterwards was to say, well, okay, if it comes right up in here someplace, I'm going to go short. And, but nobody knew that. This is where the front running guys are feeling clever. Clever Trevor. Where are we going? tired. Been a long time since 4:30 this morning. About 16 hours to be exact. 14. Wow, this is less than exciting, shall we say. We can say that, I think, with a great degree of certainty. Geez, another 30 minutes of this. Ooh. Pretty painful here now. In hindsight, of course, oh, well, I came down here, we put in the opening range, and I pulled back to the 50, and I shorted, and down you went. It's a typical rearview mirror stuff, which I'm never going to do, nor will I ever trade. Will you ever see a trade on the stream that is a replay or a rearview mirror or anything but live in real time? It's just not. I have a real thing about that. And this is painful hair, I'll tell you. This is about nothing times 2. Well, I'm not too excited about this. That's for damn sure. Nor is anybody else. Used to have quite a few people in and around here. I'm not going to bother coding up these zones and having them push across to bookmap. If there's not some, if there's not, they're not interesting for trading. Obviously, it's not. I'm not doing it because I think it's a lot of fun to code up indicator, especially when I can just go over here and see where we are now. Granted, I can't pull the zones, but I can get pretty close, and with this tool that I made, so I can just slap these horizontal lines on here, that works pretty well. So we've got another something. What do we have? 20 minutes or so. 25. Well, there's not even anything else I can do. I don't think. You know, one thing I can do. I could get the stream ready for in the morning. Get that queued up, I guess. I think. Probably. So we got a 23-point range complete on this Globex opening range so far. Oh, I can't do anything. I cannot schedule or create another. Okay, as long as I'm in the middle of a stream, I can't create another one, so I just have to wait till it's over. By golly. This is painful. I don't, $70 billion, huh? Isn't that amazing? And here we go, keying up on the initial balance low. Opening range, geez, I can't stop saying initial balance. That's such built into me. I'm treating the RTH session so long. It's like watching the paint dry, boy, I'll tell you. Now, looking at this on the bigger schedule, and we've got Blue Boy over here for the first print of the session. What do we have? What does the context tell us we have? We've got lower highs, and we've got lower lows. Till here. So what I expect? I expect us to break the low. That's what I would anticipate based on price action. Now, looking at the statistics story, still irritating to me. If you want to look at this in terms of the opening range, which is correct, all of this stuff is correct. Except one thing. Tuesday is not correct, and I'll tell you why. This ETH is Wednesday's trade. Now it's different. But this is only 25%, huh? Those are pretty slim pickings, aren't they? Yeah, I think so. And something that kind of bothers me here, while we're on the subject, 25 and 12 is about 37.50. Where the hell is the rest? You know, where are the rest? Where is the rest of the percentage? And this is the problem right here. These are the instances where that has occurred. So something that I could do to nail down whether this was plotting properly or not with this Globex is go back to these individual instances and see if, and the place to do that is right here, see if they bear out. You know, that's the only way I know to do to verify that data. And it is true that the ETH, when the market reopens at 1,700, you know, or 1,800 if you're in New York, that trade is for the next day. That is the electronic trading hours for Wednesday. Or whatever this is. Yeah, Wednesday. Is tomorrow Wednesday? Come to think about it. Oh, sure as hell is. I gotta do some other stuff around here. I'm all out of sync with the new schedules. Mom's been up since 4. I was up at 4:30. Makes for a long day. And good evening. Welcome to the stream. I never can really tell what these stats are, if they're telling me the truth or not. I look up on the stream itself and it says on the upper machines and it says 2 people watching. And I look over at OBS and it says 1. I don't know what's going on. I think it's just me talking to myself here, which is fine. It's my journal. It's more fun and, interesting and perhaps accomplish more when there's some dialogue, feedback, the old, 2 heads are better than 1 idea. One factor that I have to definitely take into consideration with this, analyzing these trades for potential, or analyzing these sessions for potential trades is I'm not interested, nor can I put a trade on and then manage and babysit it all night, So that's why I'm trying to nail these probabilities down to a concise period of time. And that's the part about Asia that kind of throws me off, is it goes clear through till 8:30 in the morning, Well, Asia and then London. So yeah, I have to think, these are all things I have to factor in. If it was great trading, okay, super, I'll just trade all night and sleep in the daytime. That's no problem. But I can't do 24/7. I'm just an old wuss. I can't do 24/7 anymore. This is still weird to me. This is so strange. I'll say one thing about them. The various time zones are consistent, right? The stats are coming out fairly consistently. So here's the daily. This is a built-in zone from Edgeville. So I'm assuming somebody figured this out. This knows, understands what they've got going on the back end. I think I do, but we'll see. 83 to 16. When the highs formed first, the high is still the breakout, which is okay. So that's 6 p.m. to 5 p.m. That's all the way around the clock. Here's the same difference. This is 5 p.m. UTC 5 to 8:30 in the morning. Didn't even change it. 83 to 16. Did it actually update? Wow. It didn't change it at all. So that's got to be pretty damn accurate. Or is this thing stopped updating, or what's happening here? Well, let's do this. I'll show this guy who's boss. Let's look at the RTH and see what happened. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Well, that's pretty weird. That tells me that it must be smack on. And then we can drop this one in. Oops. This one in. So it's 83 to 16. Goes completely backwards. Maybe that's just too close. I don't know how they got their data going. Well, I still think it's amazing that we're going to take there's an 83% probability that it's going to take the high. Now, this is all freaking night. That's till 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. So there's a lot can go on there. I could do a Chicago Asia, I guess, but it's the same thing as we have here. 7 a.m. So this one is, here's an Asia, which hasn't started yet. That's 50. That's okay. That's not pertinent, I don't think. This is. Well, we have 10 minutes about to go. And then this this opening range, Globex opening range, is going to come to a halt. And then we'll jump over to Asia. This is string cheese here. That might pair well with a glass of red wine. This is boring as crap. You ever come back to the 50? They've only got, what do they have? 8 minutes, 7 minutes. Get up to this high. Better get going. I think if I had a glass of wine right now, I'd probably chip my teeth on the microphone, falling over asleep. Boy, that was one hell of a day, huh? One hell of a day. I still find it kind of funny that they don't add up to 100%. Or not funny, haha, but, you know, curious. 37.5%. How can that be? What happened to the other 62.5%, you know? Where'd that go? It's conceivable that because of the short duration of the session that neither one broke. So there was no first break low or first break high. Either one happened, which is exactly what we have right here now. Here's the range, right? There's the zone. High, open, or start. High, low. Opening range, close. 1 hour. Then nothing happened. So that would be the statistic, I guess, and that should be identified here. But we're going to get this drama with the, you see, we can't pick a day here. Well, breakouts, breakdowns, no breaks. And if we try to go to by weekday, we're going to get that can't fetch thing up here again. Boop, boop. And there's not another way to do it that I'm aware of. Oh, I know. This might be able to use this and not worry about this opening range. The Globex. Use this for the ETH. And then set the parameters down here. There's the first, there's the ORB, okay. Breakout time, 6:30 p.m. Wait a minute, what are we doing here? So change this to uh, 2 hours. So this would mean that 90% of them broke out by 7 p.m. 63 out of 70 days. Well, that's interesting. 10% after. So this would be in the remainder of, this would be Asia. And this is, well, that's interesting, but it doesn't do us anything. It doesn't do us any good by days. Oh, look at us go over here. We're going to take the IB high now. There's gonna make a liar out of me yet. Performance. I don't know what that even is, to be honest with you. Average performance, 15-minute. What the hell is all that? I don't know. I'll have to review these on the weekend with a nice, comfortable, rested, you know. Well, if I wanted to extrapolate from the other report and this report, I think it would be that, again, with the opening high, the high being the first one, it keeps going back, defaulting back to that. So, okay, the hell with you. Stick with it then. Let's see. Show me. We're going to break the IB high. Sure as the damn world. Oh, we're past time. Well, never mind. So now Asia's going to kick in, and we have crossed the Great Divide. So we have finished inside the zone. Where am I? Hold on, nobody move. Here's what we're doing. So we crossed the Great Divide without any breakouts of the initial balance, and now Asia's taken off. So what we're going to do here now is go out here, turn off the dashboard, go up here, turn on the dashboard. I love it when it says that. We are. So now this is Asia. Now we're getting going on Asia. Oh boy, oh boy. So I'm going to always leave Blue Boy on for the first print of the Globex, which is typically how I do it, or the ETH. And I'm going to get rid of all this other nonsense over here, because they're meaningless to me now. She said. All right, and now let's slap on an Asian beauty over here. Better be careful. I've got two Asian beauties living here. So that's the first print of Asia. Oh, I don't want the damn calculator. I'm tired. Okay, so we're going into the last hour and a half. Because I have to wait for this IB to set, and then I usually trail it off in about a half hour because I've had it by then. Energy-wise. Well, sure as hell, they got the IB high. Well, there you go. So the IB high was taken out, and that's just what the statistics said, contrary to my popular belief. So in other words, trade what you see, not what you think. Isn't that funny? Not really, but here we are. There it is. There's the IB high just after it closed. So technically, you know, if you were looking at the entire ETH, this would have been a done deal. Now we've got this one to look at. So that's kind of... Well, that's pretty interesting, actually, that it did in fact take that out. Hmm. What's up, Panda Danda? What's up, little girl? This is quite the MOC right here. I never saw that before.
There's the cross. He rises to meet it, and it's a goal! This tournament, every corner kick goal is your chance to win a car. When the ref signals a corner, post hashtag on every corner, hashtag sweepstakes on X, and tag Enterprise, and you could win this.
So that looks like we've got an IB high here. I'm guessing. See how it works out. So my thinking is the initial opening range, the orb high has been put in first. Let's see what we got going on over here. And yes, there it is. And here we are. Then we're only halfway into it, but okay. Let's dance. So this is pretty slow going and pretty boring, that's for sure. I don't know what to think about it, to be honest. Okay, now. So we got 1735. I mean 1935. Do we have anything going on? Well, we're just banging on those lows. So the high is definitely put in first, assuming they keep her down there for another 30 minutes. And we'll just check back. This is gonna have something to eat here and check back in and out. This is not anything to write home about, that's for sure. I am undoing the trade control panels because I am completely hammered here. Beat. I'm not going to put on a trade at this point and then manage it for umpteen hours. Much as I need to make money, I'm not that stupid. So what do we have going on now? Well, there's the end of the initial balance. Where did we close it? We closed it. Here's the high. Here's the low. So we go 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. So the ending zone is 50 to 75. So we dance back over here and we go customize 50 to 75. And now look at it. This is crap. It's crap. There's no, let's see, what have I done wrong? 50 to 75 Wednesday. That's correct because it's Wednesday's trade. Let's get out some more time, I guess. There we go. So we've got a 50% probability that we're going to take the IB high in this configuration. So let's see how we go until the bottom of the hour, and then I'm toast. Well, what happened? Exactly nothing, huh? And this is where I'm not going to sit up until, the wee hours. Waiting to see what's going to go on here. In Asia, IB's first. The zone is 50 to 75. And that means we want to get this over to A's. Let's put this on. There you go. So first break, 83%. It's the IB high, and that makes sense. There we are. This is what we need to take out, that target. So that, I would say, is probably a reasonable thing. I'm not going to put the percentages on there because I'm going to be out of here in another 5 minutes. Not anything wrong with trading or stream, but I'm tired. Been up since 4:30 this morning, and that makes it about what does it make it? Well, 17 hours. That's probably about enough. Guessing.
The system I think it's just a strong reaction because it happened last time too, but the bumps are
Well, don't use the moisturizer anymore. Use a different one. I mean, use a different lotion. We got them all over the place.
a strong reaction.
I don't know. That's the thing.
It's just like it's a little bit on my
That's just
my skin turning red is what happened, and it went away.
Okay, so the daughter's having an allergic reaction on her hand now. Well, this entire day's been perfect. I would say we're going to take the IB high, the OB high, ORB high. Well, I can't even get it out right. Well, we're in a spot where we might do a front run here. Last couple of sessions, they've taken this straight to settlement for that ORB high. And there's the 30. That's it for this cowboy. I'm going to button this thing up and turn the horses out and head up to the house. So this would be the likely spot for a front run, but I just don't think it's something I'm not going to stay here to manage because it's late and I'm tired. I mean, it's not late, but I'm tired. I've been up for 16 and a half hours. 16 hours, I guess. And that's about enough for this old cowboy. Finish this glass of wine and this little bit of arugula here, and I'm all set. I'm going to watch this out on the Trading View. I'm getting ready to head for the barn. Here is the, this was the opening range, and now here we have Asia. I don't know what that's doing there, but okay. All right. Well, these long days are gotta come to a halt here, I think. Somehow or another. I'm not sure how to approach it, but All right, that's going to be it for me. Have a great night. Oh, no. We still didn't get the stat, but I'm sure we will before this next hour is probably over. But I am going to call it a night. So have a great one. Thanks for stopping by. Like and subscribe if anybody's here. And I'll see you all at 8 o'clock in the morning, Central Standard Time.